Because I'm not sure what to say first. I think about this all week, and I wanted to kind of know, from a life starting from negativity and being surrounded by it, I made a big change with a pretty negative situation that happened. And this is where I discovered you, and it's turned my life around. Yet I'm still feel like I'm blocking a lot of things. I feel like I am very good at manifesting negative things, and they happen very quickly when I think of them. And it seems like the days that I am working the hardest, or even starting out on the highest flying disc that I know of, it still ends up pretty bad, or I still manifest things that are very negative. And I want to get clarity on this, and I want to know what I'm doing to pinch myself off.
Well, it's logical that if there is something that has some momentum going, that the momentum might play out. We've been saying for a while, to try to get you to relax and have a little fun with it, that it's like sometimes you have fallen out of an airplane with no parachute and you want to know, what should I do now? And we say, don't worry, it'll be over soon. Because sometimes it just has to play itself out, but you can hit the ground running, you really can. So we talked earlier today about getting out ahead of it, and that really is where your power is. The difficulty is that if there's something negative that you have your attention on, then you're producing more momentum for more negativity. And a good analogy, we know that you know this, and perhaps it is not necessary for us to compound the problem with an example about the problem, but this can be helpful. Imagine that you are moving forward, and from your mouth is spewing a sort of mist that is causing a fog, a red, inky mist that is making it difficult for you to see and experience things. But you just keep spewing the mist, and so you keep having that experience. And if you just stop spewing it, in a little while the mist will dissipate, not instantaneously. But it's hard to stop spewing the mist, because while you're in the middle of the unwanted mist, you're usually talking about the mist you're in, which just causes you to spew more of it, which you're then talking about, and so it never quite gets cleared up. And then you meet those people who remember the mist, who, even though you've kind of cleared it up and aren't thinking about it, they're remembering it because it hasn't quite dissipated all the way. And so it really is more about that. But bit by bit, you can get into a different place. And here's the easiest way to do that. When you sleep at night, that mist stops. You aren't spewing it while you're sleeping, because your consciousness leaves your physical apparatus, just like when you make your final transition, when you have what you call your death experience. When you sleep, your consciousness is not having a point of attraction. So that's a really good time for that mist to clear up. And when you wake up in the morning, if you don't start spewing it again already, then this day is going to have less of that attraction power than the day before. And the next day, less still. And the next day, less still, until it really does not take long. But it takes some understanding of what's causing the mist, and some willingness, or maybe even discipline, to focus on things that feel better. It's not easy to have something that's happening, or someone that's after you, or something. It's not easy not to react. It's a normal response to react. If something's coming at you, you sort of want to defend yourself. But you have to get out of that defensive place, which means you have to be focused upon other things. And you can't focus upon negative things and positive things at the same time, or bad feeling things or good feeling things at the same time. Just stop being hard on yourself about the contrasts that you experience. Look for the benefit in it. Here's something really good to say. Even if you're experiencing something really not wanted, say to yourself, since things are always working out for me, there must be value in this. And then look for it. Look for the value. We know that sounds good. Is it practical enough for you to apply it?
Yes, absolutely. And I've wanted to adopt that very thinking. And when good things do happen, I like to acknowledge them. I say, hey, well, at least I'm doing something right. I must be thinking in the right way. I'm attracting this the right way. And it almost seems immediately that that's when it changes. Goes right back to the opposite way.
Well, a desire has two ends on the stick. There's what's wanted on one end of it and the absence of what's wanted on the other. So maybe sometimes when things are going well, it does make you think about the other end of the stick. But that will happen less and less. It just happens less and less. You can't miss this, knowing what you now know and where you now stand in relationship to what you know. There's no way that the unwanted will not continue to dissipate. It will. It must continue to dissipate. Anything else would be illogical. We want you to just relax in this and not get too upset with yourself. Esther does that sometimes too. She'll say, I should know better. And we say, what about sometimes traveling through an unpleasant neighborhood or environment on your way to a beautiful park? Sometimes those unwanted things are just causing you to ask with stronger clarity about what you do want. It's all part of it. And you didn't come into this physical experience intended by yourself or anyone else to figure out how to be perfect and get it just right all the time. That's why we say you never get it wrong and it's never finished. And the reason that you can't get it wrong is because it's never finished. So you just, from where you are, you keep getting out ahead of it again and getting out ahead of it again and getting out ahead of it again. We want to say this. We think it will help you. So have you been listening to us for a while? Even though it's your first time here, have you been listening to us for a while? So you've been hearing us talking about the vortex, which is that vibrational version that precedes the manifestation of things. So here's this vibrational version. We even gave it a name because we wanted you to feel the realness of its existence. So as it is in the state of becoming, because law of attraction is responding to it too, it's gaining a momentum. And if you are in the vicinity of the momentum that it has gathered, then you receive answers and ideas about it. And that's really what we mean by the receiving mode of what your inner being knows and who you've really become, what your life has caused you to become. So as you feel better more of the time, as you care more about how you feel, as you put higher emphasis on the joy part of the triad of intentions, so that you are feeling better more of the time and ideas begin to flow to you. When those ideas come and you know that they came from that source energy place because they came with such a burst of enthusiasm and you felt so good about them initially, at least, as those ideas play out, it's like that 4 days of magic that our friend was talking about. Things just unfold beautifully. But if you're feeling vulnerable, or if you're feeling picked on, or if you're feeling misunderstood, or if you're feeling taken advantage of, or if you're feeling angry or defensive, or any of those natural human emotions that you all feel from time to time, that's a receptive mode too. And what comes from that are unpleasant conversations and unpleasant experiences and unpleasant things. And we don't want to hurt your feelings as a human race, but most of what you all are doing is from there. Most of the things that you're talking about, your politics, most of what is going on with religion, so much that you're talking about has been generated by you as individuals in a mass consciousness about unwanted stuff. And if you spend all your time milling around with each other and considering life about those things, it's hard for you to get into the receptive mode. You almost have to withdraw a bit from what's going on. That's why meditation is such an effective tool about raising your vibration, or rampages of appreciation, or doing things that truly are good feeling and pleasurable to you. You just have to find some way of disassociating with the momentum of this. And we acknowledge, we give all of you credit. That is not an easy thing to do with all of the media and all of the information that's coming at you and all of the opinions that surround you. But that's what we mean by getting out ahead of it rather than being a reactor. Because it's not easy to live in this world observing much of it at all without reacting to things. You see things on television every day that you react to. And when you're reacting, you're spewing a vibration, and that vibration, if you do it often enough, is going to become a momentum that's going to feel hard for you to do something else about. So we don't want you to go off and live in a cave. We don't want you to go off and hide from the negative people at work or from the television. We don't want you to disengage from life. We want you to get a deliberate grip on yourself and acknowledge that stuff happens and that's just what's going on. But who you really are is someone who mostly leans toward compliments rather than criticisms. In other words, just remind yourself who you really are. Because with each and every negative experience that you have, there is a counter asking for something that you do want. You can't have a negative experience without throwing a desire for something improved in your vibrational reality. And this is what the evolution of all species is about. All expansion of all things is about that. So what we really want to say to all of you in an emphatic way is that if you want to get into this receptive mode where those magical rendezvous happen, and if you really do want to live happily ever after, it is going to require some disengagement from the stuff that you are reacting to. So we've been talking about step 1 is contrast of life causes you to ask, and step 2 is source gathers everything that you've asked for and gives it to you. When you ask, it is answered. Step 3 is even though it's answered and it's in a vibrational form that you can't receive unless you're in the vibrational vicinity of it. So you've got to be in that place where you can receive the good ideas. And step 4 is mastery of that. Step 4 is just getting so good at that. Step 4 is caring more about how you feel than anything else. In that triad of intentions, you care more about the joy than you do about anything else till you get really good at it. And then step 5, oh, it's our favorite step to talk about, and it especially applies right here and now with you. Step 5 is where you're not mad at yourself when you dip back down into step 1, because step 1 is essential to the equation of eternal expansion. But feel the difference. When you have mastered this step 3 of being in the receiving mode, when you are in the state of allowing and you're really good at it, so you know how to get there, and you get there easier today than you ever have, and easier tomorrow even than today, because you've practiced it, and so you're doing it deliberately and you feel good about it. Then when something happens that you have previously observed and really taken a strong negative hit on, and maybe even gotten all defensive about, once you've mastered that and you are in what we are calling step 5, you can observe without getting all balled up in it. So you become not reactionary to things you can't control. You may observe them, but you've got such momentum going for yourself about your well-being and about the well-being of the planet and about the well-being of others. Well-being is so dominant within you. It's like watching a child fall down or be unhappy about something that he can't do, and you're not really worried about him because you know that's just part of learning how to walk. So you're not down there crying with him. You're encouraging him because you know it's going to be okay. And that's really what step 5 is. It's knowing that it is ultimately okay, that the dominant momentum is that you are a magnificent person. The dominant momentum is that good things are coming to you. The dominant momentum is that you do good things. The dominant momentum is that life is supposed to be good for you. The dominant momentum is that things are working out for you. That's the dominant momentum. And when you really get there, you are far less reactionary to most of the world that's down here fussing over stuff that doesn't matter. Helpful?
Yes. And I have time away from work, and those are the times that I really do well, and I bring myself back up to a higher place. And I have identified that even the drive to work here, if anybody lives in Phoenix here, they know, just driving to work or even just being at work, that's what takes me down so quickly.
But that was what we were just talking about. If you're really doing this work, nothing will take you down. Because if that were the case, if you all are to live very conditional lives where everything has to be beautiful and wonderful that you are observing in order for you to feel good,
I understand.
You just can't isolate yourself from enough that you are tempted to react to, because you were born into contrast for the purpose of making choices. And so the answer is to enjoy the contrast because it helps you make choices, not see it as a threat to your happiness. Can you feel the difference? Contrast doesn't threaten you. It's what has given birth to your vortex. It's what feeds your vortex. It's what the expansion of the universe is all about. Don't take this stuff so personally. Nobody is mad at you. They're only mad at themselves. They're only upset that they're not where they want to be. And in their agony at not being in the receptive mode, they are flailing out, they are lashing out. And you don't want to be so uninformed or ignorant about how this all works that you let them get your goat.
Right. So this event that I talked about that caused me to turn around, I've listened many times to the same question, and it seems like these people have gotten different answers, and I want this answer for me.
Yes, that's why the answers are different.
Right. Right. It is a lover that left. And
Say again?
it is a lover that left me, and somebody that I attracted in even one of the worst times of my life. And I don't understand how that happened, but in the best time of my life, I can't seem to get them back, and that's what I'm trying to get clarity
When we
from.
asked for clarification, because it wasn't clear to us if you'd said a lover who left or love that left. And there's such a distinction, because if you want someone to love you and flow their love to you, and we know how good that feels, and we can understand why, if they're not doing that now, that wouldn't feel as good as it felt when they were doing it. But if you can remember that the reason that you feel the way you feel is for one reason only, is because of what you're broadcasting. What you are broadcasting or radiating or spewing has a relationship with what your inner being is doing at the same time about the same thing. So when it matters to you that you are loved, you can't control that, because people have different ideas about what they want. You heard our friend say she cut him loose.
Yes.
As she chose what felt better to her. If in order to feel good, you need them to be spewing that to you, you're always going to be in trouble over something, because you are not the object of attention to which everyone else is serving, you see. But when you realize that the way you feel is about what you're flowing, and so what you're really saying to us is, I miss this person who was an object of attention, who I could really flow a lot of love to. I miss having that object to flow love toward. So you're going to have to get creative. You're going to have to remember good times, but maybe that hurts too much. Or you're going to have to get busy doing other things, focus on other things that aren't about that subject. Or you're going to have to step back a little bit and think about so much that you still do love, get in the appreciation mode about different things. And it's our promise to you. You see, you can't have a lover leave you in any way without putting big time in your vortex the return of that somehow, some way. But you can't get into the receptive mode to let it in if you're still feeling the loss of the lover. The loss of the lover caused you to create another, but you can't find that person if you're not in the receptive mode, and you can't be in the receptive mode if you're still feeling the loss of your lover. Sort of a vicious circle, isn't it?
It is. And one thing I've learned to appreciate is what it's caused me to do with my life, to turn it around and learn the things that I'm learning and try to get back on that.
And what if that person was never meant to be, it was never your intention, it was never meant to be the end of it all in terms of relationships? What if it was a step along the way to help you to get into alignment with who you really are, so that the next lover who comes is also predominantly in alignment?
I was afraid you were going to say that.
Well, it's easy for us to drop these breadcrumbs for you because we can see the whole story. In other words, we understand the whole thing. We know who you are, and we know where you're going, and we know it can be fun. But you've got to put yourself in the place where you can feel the fun and feel the ease and feel the joy in order to receive the good ideas and experience the good timing to have. But you see, even though we know you really want this lover, even if we knew where this person was, we would not take the other by the hand and you by the hand and bring you together. Not right now. Because, first of all, we are not the creator of your reality. And even though we know that, isn't it nice if you have enough experiences to get you really solid in that receptive mode. Because if you're sometimes spewing inky mist, you're going to meet somebody that's not going to pan out. And if you're never spewing the inky mist, when you meet, it's going to be really, really good. Feel the difference? Mm-hmm. One day a woman said to us, Abraham, I need you to help my son find a mate. I want him to find one quickly. And we said, well, we don't think that's a very good idea. And she couldn't believe we were saying that. Why? She thought it was the answer to everything that was bothering him, because that's what he was suffering over so much. And we said, if he finds someone now, that person will be just like he is, unemployed, feeling bad, not doing very well, and they'll just bang around together and then it'll all blow up. And she said, that's what's been happening. And we said, he wants to remember who he is and become who he is, so he attracts someone to him of who he really is, not who he almost is. You see? And so it's nice that you have so many other wonderful things to think about. And we were projecting something that almost caused Esther to say, be patient. But it isn't about patience. When someone thanks Esther for her patience, she says, you have me mixed up with somebody else. Because you all want what you want when you want it. But if you can remember, the reason why you want it is for something that you can already accomplish. Here's an example. And we're continuing here because it's satisfying so many things around the room, and because you're so close for this to really click into place for you. So feel for just a moment the idea of having quickly or now having $100,000 or $200,000 or $300,000 at your fingertips to spend in any way you want, and feel how nice that would be. And then feel the difference between the universe yielding to you instantaneously a way for that to happen in terms of probability, and the ability to imagine prosperity. Do you think it would be easier for you to imagine prosperity, or to by the end of the day have $300,000 in your hand? That was an interesting exercise, because a lot of you said, just give me the damn money, Abraham, and stop messing with me. But what we're getting at, given the belief systems that most of you have, the idea of getting the money and getting it today is far less likely to you than the imagining of it. And yet you say, but Abraham, the imagining of it would be far less satisfying than the having of it. Well, we'll give you that from where you are standing, but we want the imagining of it, which you can do today, to be enough so that you do it today. And since you can do it today, if the imagining of it will be enough for you that you let it soothe you, then it is our promise to you, it will turn into the thing. Those thoughts will turn into the thing. But if you need the money before you allow yourself to have the thought, you've got yourself at a stalemate. Did you hear that? You got to do the vibrational work first, and then it will turn to the thing that you want. So that's why we were saying that we don't want to just give you the thing, because we know how much fun you're going to have in the journey as the thoughts are turning into the things. And you all are so looking forward to the relief of having the things, and we want you to find the relief before the thing comes, whatever the thing is.
Yes, and I greatly appreciated what you said to an earlier person too about that, about letting those things happen and letting that other person create their own reality too. So my final question would be, my desires are this is the reality I want to create. I know she wants to create her own reality, and I'm gaining that appreciation today that she's doing what she wants to do, and she's making that for herself. But what of that? You know, the things that she wants to do, if it's not in line with what I'm trying to create as well, and bringing her back. I mean, of course I don't want to force somebody to do that.
Well, here's the thing. We don't want you to bring her back. We want you to bring your happiness back. And when you do, someone like her or her will come back, will come to you. You got to let go of it being this specific person, and you got to let go of it being this specific person right now, and you've got to broadcast as if it's already happened, and then it will begin to happen in obvious ways. You see, it's difficult, we know. When you really, really want something and it really, really isn't happening, then you really, really, really are annoyed at these words, really, really, really. We know, because you have felt the relief of things going the way you want them to go. But we just got to say to you that you are training yourselves to be conditional, and that's not going to serve you well, because there are conditions, as you have found out, that you can't control. If you could control the conditions, she'd be there where she wanted to be or not. in some ways. If you could just get through to her, just let go of needing to control the condition and control the only thing that you can control, which is the way you feel, by all of the tools that you have, looking away, looking at other things, finding snatches of time when you are feeling really good. We wouldn't spend too much time remembering the good times, because that just makes you feel the absence of the good times that maybe aren't happening right now. And then the better you feel, the better you feel. The worse you feel, the worse you feel. The worse you feel, the more you spew. The less you spew, the better you feel. You've got this. You know what to do. And we would like it if, when we say have fun with it, you would not think that we are mocking you. In other words, have fun with this. We mean it. Have fun with this. Have fun with releasing your grief is what we're saying. Have fun with releasing your grief. Well, all you hear is grief, 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 grief. Have fun with moving forward to who you are. Have fun with remembering who you are. Have fun with all the gifts that are coming to you out of this. Have fun with the stability that you're discovering as a result of this. Have fun with the autonomy that is you. Have fun with the alignment with source energy that is you. Have fun with hooking into the clarity of source energy who knows who you are and what you really want. Have fun with watching the trail light up for you. Have fun with, after the fact, when you're together, remembering the way that you came together. Jerry and Esther told that story endlessly of the way that they came together and the number of ways that after the fact that they were together, they realized were also lined up for them to come together. The way they met and the way they came together was a thrilling unfolding to them. But the longer they were together and the more people they met, the more people that they knew were going to introduce them anyway. In other words, it was going to happen because it was in the vortex. There was no way that it could not happen, you see. No way that it could not happen. No way. There's no possibility that you are not going to find this person that you are looking for and live happily ever after. There's no possibility that that's not going to happen. But you got to get over the fact that it hasn't happened yet in order to let it happen. And that applies to everything you want, no matter what it is. Enough?
Understood. Thank you.
Really good.
Thank you very much.
Really good.